You mentioned culture fit earlier, so I want to talk a little bit about that because I hear this a lot lately. And I was curious, what our industry is doing around culture. And when we asked survey respondents about the importance of cultural fit in the hiring process, we got some pretty interesting responses. So, hiring managers who are more successful filling these open positions are much more likely to emphasize cultural fit during the hiring process than their counterparts. And that could go to what you were saying earlier. You just know they're going to be a better fit on the team if that's something that you're looking for early on. And hiring managers, of course, from organizations struggling to fill open roles valued cultural fit less than all other survey responses, so more than the benchmark. And, I think this is interesting because evaluating candidates on things like cultural fit can be beneficial, but of course it's potentially dangerous, right? It often comes under fire for being biased. Are we just looking for people like ourselves, right, to fill these open roles? So what do you think about this, Karl? Should we be looking at this? The data says yes, but how can we make sure we're doing this without, introducing those like cognitive biases and things like that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, how you get around the biases is incredibly difficult, and there's people challenging this all the time. It's the reason that people are so difficult and to read and hard to predict because choices and motivations in people differ all the time, and that means behavior does, and so does action. So I think it's really challenging. I think the way that we've done it is through a lot more video screenings. So actually screening our candidates heavily before we present them to a client, actually saying like, these are what we're picking up. And then if I think about, if I go back to soccer and football, because they do it a lot better than cybersecurity has, which is why my experience hopefully is enabling hiring managers to do this better, is one person in that dressing room can actually destroy that whole environment that you've spent months building, and it can turn your whole season. And it's exactly the same in security. Is like that one person can really interfere in terms of what you're trying to build, and actually interfere in terms of talent attraction, attrition, stuff like that. And as I said, number one reason people leave companies is because of their managers or because of that environment. So it's so important to get the culture fit right, firstly. But secondly, the way to do it really is by gaining everyone's opinion. Like, so the people you put in your interview process, including the external recruiter, including us in that respect, is gaining opinions consistently and trying to see where the trends are. So when you're getting these snippets of reports and you put them all in one document, you should see the key trends. So like good communication, like actually work out what they are in the first place and define them. Like, so if you're looking for someone who's motivated by the job, or motivated by the company, or is a good communicator, or is loyal and honest, what do them things need to look like? What do them things need to sound like? What do them people need to say in that interview? And then how do we then train our interviewers to go and do that? So is it that we prepare them an interview sheet to pick up on them points, or is it secondly that they need to go through some biased and like non-biased training to pick up on them sort of things? And ideally, as the more and more we do this, the report should get better, should get more detailed, should have more trends, and ultimately should give out better results. And I know this sounds hard and sounds difficult, but that's exactly what we do in football or soccer. We get, 3 or 4 scouts to watch a player 8 or 9 times, and then we interview that player 2 or 3 times. And ideally, we're trying to see the trends in terms of what they do on the pitch, who they are off the pitch, and then that will allow us to make a better investment and ideally get a return of investment, which is what cyber should be looking for all the time in people.
New episodes of Cyberwork are available every Monday at 1 p.m. Central. And don't forget to claim your free month of Infosec skills. Sign up using the code CYBERWORK and you'll get unlimited access to hundreds of courses, hands-on labs, certification practice exams, skills assessments, and more. Use code CYBERWORK for Infosec skills.